News at 4 starts now.
And breaking news at 4, the manhunt for an accused killer in Liberty County is over. Officials say this man here, 65-year-old Pavel Vitos, shot and killed himself as authorities approached him. Deputies say Vitos fatally shot a woman before wounding 2 other men and shooting a sheriff's deputy in the neck.
Now, the first shots were fired at a plumbing business in the town of Cleveland. Deputies say Vitos then opened fire again at an animal clinic. Now, when this Liberty County Sheriff's deputy tried to chase Vitos, the suspect shot at him. It's Deputy Richard Whitten. He returned fire, but he was hit in the neck. We are happy to report we now know that deputy is going to be okay.
The suspect fired shots, the deputy returned shots, and the deputy unfortunately was struck in the neck area. He is in stable condition, and he is doing well and expected to recover.
And of course, this investigation is in the early stages and continues to develop.
We do have team coverage on this shooting. We are going to tell you what we know so far about the suspect, who the victims are, and how this search has affected the Cleveland community.
And we are starting with Jason Miles. First, he's live near the spot where the suspect shot himself. So Jason, what have you learned there?
Well, you said it earlier, the headline today, this massive manhunt is over, and it all ended right here behind me. This is where I'm told suspect Pavel Vitos shot himself, took his own life after dogs picked up his scent and officers confronted him. I'm told he was hiding underneath this metal boat in front of an abandoned house here off a rural county road in the Cleveland area. Take a look at some video from earlier. Heavily armed officers from multiple agencies descended on this very area after Vitos' car was found. That was just before noontime. They believe they basically pushed the suspect farther and farther back into this wooded and rural area. They used dozens of officers, canines, and at least 2 helicopters hovering above. Vitos was accused, as you mentioned, of shooting and killing a woman inside B Dependable Plumbing. That was early this morning between 7 and 7:30. He was then accused of shooting 2 men at the same business before injuring Liberty County Sheriff's Deputy Richard Whitten during a shootout outside a vet clinic. Here's more on how troopers say the manhunt finally ended.
The suspect was found hiding up under a boat. Our SRT members tried to communicate with him to get him to come out. And then sometime in between that, there was 1 gunshot heard. The suspect is deceased from 1 gunshot wound.
Now, we saw ambulances leave this area with their sirens and lights on soon after we got word that this may have all ended. At first, we weren't sure if the suspect was dead or alive, but again, suspect Pavel Vitos, the focus of an intense, exhaustive manhunt today, is dead. And back here live, this is where it all ended once again, underneath this boat. We're told Vitos was hiding here, and some dogs from the Texas Department of Corrections actually located him. Officers approached, as you heard the DPS trooper say, confronted him, tried to communicate with him, and that's when they say he shot and killed himself. Now, the homeowners here, an elderly gentleman and his wife, say they were at home at the time, but they really heard nothing. As far as how all of this began and why it began, the possible motive at this point appears to be the fact that Vitos was being evicted from a metal structure he lived in behind that plumbing business. The plumbing business owns the property and apparently had told him he needed to get out, and that's what apparently set him off. Obviously, all of this is still under investigation. We'll check back in with you from here coming up at 5 o'clock. Guys?
All right, lots of good information there. Thank you, Jason. All right, so again, 4 victims, 3 crime scenes. Jessica Borg is now live at the vet clinic where that deputy Richard Whitten was shot in the neck. Jessica.
Jason, I spoke with the manager of the vet clinic here. It's called Big Thicket. The manager says she's only been on the job for about 2 months and says this morning was the most frightening experience of her life. She describes pandemonium just as the clinic was opening at about 7:30 this morning. She says the gunman could have easily fired his weapon at her. Now, Lisa Patillion tells me that she heard commotion outside the clinic this morning and that when she went to the back door, she saw the suspect pointing the gun at the deputy. She then ran back inside the clinic and told her 3 employees to hide. Not sure if the suspect was going to barge into the building. The suspect, she says, could have easily turned on her, shot her while she was at the back door. Battalion says she's never seen the suspect before, but does know the Liberty County deputy, Deputy Richard Whitten, who was shot in his neck.
It's very sad because we actually know him. So, yeah, definitely. He comes in the clinic and brings his little stray kitties. He's a very sweet gentleman.
Now, Battalion tells me one of her employees is related to one of the other 3 victims shot today at the plumbing business down the road. He's a man in critical condition. We do not know his name just yet. One woman was shot and killed. Police not releasing her name at this point, and investigators say they're not sure what the relationship was between the suspect and her. The other person shot is also in critical condition at this hour. Police not confirming his name either. Now, Deputy Whitten is remarkably talking right now. He is recovering at the hospital, again, after being shot in the neck area. We know he's been with the Liberty County Sheriff's Office for about 4 years. Coming up live at 5, what Battalion says was the look on the gunman's face when he showed up at this doorstep at 7:30 this morning. For now, we are live right near Cleveland in Liberty County. Jessica Borg, KHOU 11 News.
All right, Jess, thank you so much. Our team also looking into Pavel Vitos' background, including property records and his criminal history. And neighbors are also painting a better picture of who he was. Now, from 1991 to 2003, Vito owned a property in the Heights off Yale Street. During his time there, he was in and out of the court system, fighting charges for DWI, deadly conduct, evading arrest, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Throughout the 90s, Vito used the same Houston-based lawyer, Tyrone Moncrief, for all of his cases. The two kept in touch for the past 2 decades and last spoke on the phone about 5 months ago.
This event triggers something that's uncomfortable for me because he's not that personality. Unless something provoked him to do this, I don't know what could have caused him to act in this manner.
Neighbors in the Cleveland area saying Vito had been living in that wooded area behind the plumbing business for years. Up until 2009, he apparently owned the property. Online property records say he sold it to the Grubbs family, who owns B Dedicated Plumbing. Now, authorities have been searching for Vito again since this morning, forcing 2 school districts, Cleveland and Tarkington ISDs, to take precautionary measures. David Gonzalez joins us live from Cleveland with more on that. And David, so many parents worried about their kids.
Hey, Rika, yeah, that's right. It was definitely a long day for students, parents, and teachers. And school just let out a few minutes ago, and actually all the cars that you see going by right now are on their way to pick up some of their students. School officials say that all these precautions were taken to make sure that everyone remains safe. Cop cars and school buses blocked the entrances to Eastside Elementary as authorities in the area searched for shooting suspect Pavel Vitos. It was the same site at other schools in Cleveland. District officials say all campuses were under a so-called lock-in. No one was allowed in or out, but the students' day went on as normal. Outside, parents and relatives like Lily Martinez waited for an update. Her granddaughter is in pre-K. She was dropped off this morning by her mom, but the school didn't allow parents inside.
They didn't explain to her what was happening or nothing. If we knew, then we wouldn't have dropped her off. They should have given us the option to take her home where it's more calm and secure.
She says her granddaughter's pre-K graduation was canceled because of the lock-in.
It's precisely why her mom brought her to school, to be with her and take pictures and the memories.
Their memories, Martinez says, won't be able to be recreated.
Tomorrow is the last day. There won't be time, I think, to celebrate any of that with her classmates.
Tarkington ISD also was in a shelter in place, but that was lifted after they found out that the suspect was dead. As far as those award ceremonies, well, right now we do not know if or when they will be rescheduled. Jason?
All right, David, thank you. Better be safe than sorry. Our crews in the field constantly keeping us updated, and all day we're bringing you breaking news updates on Facebook Live and on that KHOU 11 News mobile app. So make sure you follow us on Facebook to get the very latest on the investigation.
All right, let's turn our attention to the weather now. Tornadoes touching down in Kansas, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and that was just yesterday's severe weather. The National Weather Service says it counted 27 tornado reports on Tuesday alone. All week, communities in the Midwest have braced for powerful twisters.
And right now, it's severe weather moving into North Texas. This is a live look over Dallas. Very cloudy, but what's coming, well, that's what has people on edge there.
Yeah, so Erica, what are they expecting up there?
You know, there's already active tornado warnings just east of Dallas, so the bulk of the activity is kind of surrounding the Metroplex as of right now, but radar active nonetheless, that system getting closer to us, and it will approach our region by tomorrow afternoon. Here's what radar looks like and those active warnings that I mentioned. Two that are in place right now until 4:30 p.m. and 4:45 p.m. East of Dallas, north of I-20, we have no ground confirmation right now of active tornadoes on the ground, but still a possibility. Radar indicated. Orange polygons, those are severe thunderstorm warnings. The flash flooding concern north of them out in Oklahoma, now pushing into Missouri and also parts of Arkansas. So busy nonetheless. It's all because of a front that's moving through Texas as we speak. This front is going to get closer to us, but then start to kind of fizzle out. So that is why it's humid. That's why it's cloudy out there for us. We're ahead of this system. Small spotty showers is all we tracked throughout today. Right now, cloud coverage, the high humidity, mainly our main issue. 87 degrees, feel like temperatures in the mid to low 90s though. Here's what we're tracking the next 3 days. I'll talk about the storm chances in place as that system gets closer, coming up in the full forecast.
Thank you, Erica. The other big story today, the Russia investigation finally over.
Special counsel Robert Mueller says he's got nothing else to say, and he's now